Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do the dang thing. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Take a drink of my non-sponsored drink. Hope you guys are having a great day. So much to get into. So much is in the news. Where do we even get started? But this is the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. And I just realized I don't have my chat up. Story of my life. Where's my chat? Oh, where is my chat? Oh, where are you? Chat. Here we go. Coming in hot. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Giovanni, what up? Oh, man. Let me just start the show off with saying this. Is that there's a lot of insane things going on right now. A lot of over-the-top talking about everything that's going on right now for good reason. But many people like yourself that you've been watching my show, so you're more probably free-thinking, libertarian-minded, bent, maybe black flag, white pill, whatever pill you're taking these days. But you've kind of assumed this was going to happen. You kind of assume all this stuff was going to go down. And so, to pretend like I am surprised is a lie. I'm not surprised at all by it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It really is. But I'm not surprised at all. You and I have watched years of people destroying entire cities, and those same people being bailed out by our incredible vice president. You've watched people's lives being ruined by the federal government, and it seems to lean completely on one direction. You've watched how Jeffrey Epstein has committed suicide in prison. We still don't know who went to his island or the list of those people. We do know some of the victims, which is just depressing and unfortunate. But the fact that we're not making arrest after arrest after arrest shows you the direction of what this country is headed towards. And so to say otherwise is just silly. But I think the most depressing part about today, and I don't know if you could echo this, those of you in the chat, Giovanni, is that I think I'm more depressed about how many people are celebrating this. Because you always have to picture yourself in the pendulum. It'll eventually turn to you. It's just like the whole cancel culture and getting rid of free speech and being offended and triggered and making people change their ways in order to make you feel better about who you are in that moment, instead of just learning how to deal with opposition and deal with insanity. The woke will eventually eat themselves. In my opinion, it's all planned. No coincidence. Exactly. First Alex Jones down. Yes, exactly. And then Steve Bannon. Also breaking right now, which I'm going to get to. But I saw this meme and I reposted it. I just thought it was perfect. Because people are clapping this and people are all about the army and calling him Dark Brandon and stuff like that. It's not a good thing. I saw Governor Cuomo come out against it, which is hilarious because he's like, please don't investigate me. But at the same time, it's just, even he can see it's like insanity. But right now, this is breaking. House Republican Representative Scott Perry tells Fox News that the FBI has just seized his phone at the airport today. This just broke. So it's clearly all one-sided, and it's clearly all insane. And the fact that we're now just going to, if things don't go your way, you're going to do everything in your political power to squash the opposition. This is only going to lead to worse things to come. the Republicans are acting, people in GOP are acting like abuse victims that have just taken abuse after year after being called homophobe, transphobe, being white supremacists, white privilege, what all these names, and they've just begin to pile up, and now they're coming after you. And so I'm afraid of what is going to result to this kind of stuff. Will there be protests? I'm not totally sure. I don't know if Republicans have the gall for it. I don't know if they have the cojones for it. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's crazy how far they're willing to go and laugh about it. And I just wish, okay, and again, I'm not like this huge Trump supporter that I think that there's nothing he can't do that is perfect. Like if he was a horrible individual, criminal and stuff like that, go for it. Go up. But there is no consistency within the FBI, who they decide to target. What they decide is important. They obviously don't care about sex abuse victims and sex trafficking and stuff like that, or pedophiles and stuff like that. They don't care about that kind of stuff. They will just go after people for their your taxes. But I have so many clips that we're going to get into in this show. So I hope you guys are strapped in and enjoy. Giovanni, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. But I wanted to start the show off. Also, I'm wearing a green sweater. Oh, also, if you want to support my show, you go to buymeacoffee.com/Jericho Shea Show. If you give, it pops up on the live feed, and it reads out whatever you put down. So be careful what you put down. But I'm going to start off today's show with a couple layups because I have to start off the show. But again, I am not surprised by any of these actions. I've been saying that this stuff was coming down for a long time. I've always said the FBI is against the American citizen over actual going after criminals and stuff like that. Just like Ron Paul, that Ron Paul clip I've added to the show that is just so scrumptious. And I feel like I owe Ron Paul an apology because there was a lot of things that I remember him saying when I was younger, and I just thought, that's crazy. And he was spot on. And thanks to him, solely changed that picture. I know. Okay, but listen to this layup first. We'll start with Nancy Pelosi going off of, she is fresh from coming from Taiwan, and this is her response.
We still support the one China policy. We go there to acknowledge the status quo what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying China is one of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk.
I'm sorry. China is what? The most freest society in the world?
One of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk a little bit.
Democracy, courageous people.
She just called China a strong democracy and one of the freest countries in the world. These people are bought and sold by China. It's literally insane. She just came from Taiwan. Now she feels emboldened to talk like this. I've thought that this entire trip to Taiwan was her way of us as American leadership going to Taiwan saying, we know China is going to attack you and we're not going to do anything about it. And we need these chip manufacturers, and we need to move to the United States because you are going to be taken over, because we're not going to do anything. That's what I assumed. And the fact that she's coming back after China and speaking in this manner about one China policy, calling China one of the most freest countries in the world, which is a total lie. Anybody with a brain has seen the lockdowns that have come from COVID in China, what's going on in China due to no COVID policy in China. Anybody with like 2 brain cells can decide that there's nothing, you don't equate China and freedom in this. You don't put that in the same sentence unless you're being political and speaking. She's playing 3D chess here. But I want to finish this whole clip because I just think it's just insane. Yeah, China free. Exactly, Giovanni. It's just like, it's literally in the most insane statement. But again, it's because she's a Democrat. She can just say these over-the-top, insane things that no Democrat in the early 2000s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 70s would ever come out of their mouths. And they like to pretend like it's the right side of the party aisle is that they're the most insane ones and change so much, but it's the left is totally logical and is in step. It's the right that's actually moving the I just got done working out, and sometimes I have a workout brain where I'm just like trying to come back to life. But I'm going to finish this clip with you. Let's listen.
Status quo is what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying China is one of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk a little bit.
Which I love when people say that. Don't take it from me. Hey, it's not me that's saying it, okay? So if you got a problem with it, it's somebody else.
See, courageous people, and it just, I don't know why it is, except there's some commercial interests who would like to diminish the relationship. We still support the one China policy. We go there.
It's just insane, okay? We're living in a clown world. Again, I have so many clips that come down from today's insanity. But here's a perfect clip from today about what's going on in the world and freaking Biden today. Here we go. Biden coming out on the day after Trump being raided, and comes out and says this.
We're showing the world that the United States of America can still do big things. Nearly unanimous bipartisan ratification sends another important message. The United States is committed. The United States is committed to the transatlantic alliance. Together with our allies and partners,
the United States is doing big things. We're locking up previous presidents. We're raiding their houses. We're going after the other side of the aisle. We're taking cell phones. We're subpoenaing people over January 6th that wasn't encouraging violence whatsoever or weren't there whatsoever. We're doing big things in America. All right, now let's go down and start off today with this freaking flashback from yeah, Giovanni. I know. It's just it's literally like my life right now. But here is Ron Paul telling us all what we learned, what we've known, but some people on the right, especially the Republican Party, are finally waking up to the idea the FBI isn't your friend. So stop trying to pretend like, it's just like the military. It's like a lot of conservatives are finally realizing the military wing is very liberal, and it's not what it used to be. So here's Papa Ron.
Most of our history, we didn't have those institutions. The FBI came in during the First World War. And interestingly enough, one thing that Woodrow Wilson did, he used the FBI to spy on American citizens and actually arrest them if they disagreed with his foreign policy about going to war in Europe. And isn't it interesting how recent they used it in the Vietnam era? Democrats used it there. Republicans used the FBI to spy on 100 different groups in this country, including the churches, who disagree with the policy in
No alphabet agency is your friend, guys. Isn't that the truth? Keep listening to that. Thank you for that.
Central America. It almost looks like the FBI was designed to spy on Americans who might be disagreeing with policy, especially the foreign policy. So the FBI, although I don't think I could condemn everything they've ever done, because I'm sure some of the investigations and investigation of crime has been beneficial, but that could be accomplished through Justice Department within our states.
Exactly.
We wouldn't reject that portion of it. But I think the FBI has kept and continues to keep a lot of records on a lot of individuals.
We have been down this road before, and it's amazing how many people just aren't learning lessons. We're just, history, people that say that history doesn't repeat, it just rhymes. Well, it is rhyming hard.
Individuals. The CIA has only been here since 1947. Their record is lousy. I mean, just think of the CIA used by the Democratic administration.
The CIA record is lousy. The FBI record is especially lousy. We don't even have to talk about Governor Whitmer. And just, it's like one of those shows that I'm just so frustrated about what's going on in America that I don't even have words for a lot of what's going on. Especially when you look at what's going on in the world with Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan, and how China is just slowly taking over the world by doing infrastructure and taking over governments by buying them out essentially. And now we're switching to green energy and allowing other countries. We might not buy from China rare earth minerals, but we'll definitely buy from like Africa, and we'll be okay with that slave labor and that child labor. We're fine with that because it's Mother Earth connecting with the green energy sector, and we're totally okay with just being completely taken over. When we can be such a great and self-sufficient country, we decide to cripple ourselves because we're so well off. This is what happens when you have a generation of people that are so, they call it white privilege. It is not it is an American privilege. We don't understand how rich we have it compared to the rest of the world. And we're so well off that people are willing to cripple our own economy, our own energy sector, in order for their political agenda to be pushed to the day, or for them to continue to stay in power. It's just sad. Yeah, self-destruction. Exactly. We're so well off that we're willing to destroy ourselves instead of being thankful for what we have or desiring to have more. I wish our energy sector was allowed to just try to be as clean as possible, but give American people the cheapest energy possible, so that the American people can make our economy better, can make our governments better, can make our country better in a lot of ways, because we'll be richer and well off. Because when energy is cheap, then you can use your money for other things. Instead, the Democrats and the people, even Republicans, are willing to destroy our energy sector in order to make their friends rich, to make them rich, to stay in power, to a wink and a nod to the other side of the aisle. It's just sad. And then the candidates that should be celebrated, that are speaking actually for their voters, for their people, for the people that vote for them, those are the ones that are condemned the most. Those are the ones that are just driven out by the corporate media, because they themselves are in bed with these politicians, getting rich off one another, little winks and nods. Hey, is there a bill coming down that maybe I could put a trade down? It's just, people are talking about on, I know I'm ranting right now, but people are talking about on Twitter that this is like a black flag moment. This is a black pill moment, that it feels like all hope is lost. And I've been battling that for like the last couple of years, especially with COVID, and especially with how people treated the lockdowns, and how many people on the right side of the aisle were just okay with shutting everything down for the sake of safety. And it just depresses me. I'm glad I'm seeing some neighbors near me putting out the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and that gets me excited. But this is a black flag moment. This is a black pill moment. This feels like there is like no hope, and you feel powerless. And so my encouragement to you in this time is to get engaged, become a part of your local political chapter, whatever party you decide you think is the best. At this point, I wish libertarians were real. They're like leprechauns. You're just like, I just feel like if I vote for you, I'm gonna waste my vote. But I just want to be free. Like, I don't care about anything else. I just want to be in a free society, and I want to be treated as a freaking adult that can take care of myself. Society has gone through so much social engineering, it's wild. Yes, it's almost like we're just like one big experiment of like trying to see who is going to take the vaccine, who's going to stay locked down, who's going to protest for what, who's going to put a black square on their profile for what. It's like we're one big social experiment of like putting people in a box just to see how they feel and stuff like that, or making people freak out. And again, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, because when we talk about the FBI, we know some of us have forgotten about Hillary Clinton's emails. This is like a perfect example. I know she wasn't a president and stuff like that, but the way the DOJ just winked and nodded at everything she did, the Clintons have done, it's just disgusting. But it makes sense when you put it in context with everything they do. That's why I'm not like saying... It's more of like, I want to abolish them. I don't want to... I've seen a lot of people going around saying we need to defund the FBI. No. Abolish. Let's abolish the IRS. Let's abolish the FBI. We don't need them. We have cops. What do we need the FBI for? The IRS, let's get rid of the IRS. Let's just make a flat tax, maybe just a sales tax. I don't know. Like, there has to be something better. This idea that we could just make the IRS harder for rich people to evade taxes. No, they'll just hire somebody else to help them evade taxes better. I know rich people that get away with murder on their tax reports because they have good CPAs. They have good accountants that are doing the work for them. It's the people like you and me that are going to get murdered by the IRS in the years to come because of their new 87,000 agents. Think tanks and algorithms are recording everything to see how predictable people are. Yeah, certainly feels like WWF, the World Economic Forum. I mean, there's Build-A-Bank, there, Bloomberg. Like, there's so BlackRock, ESG, all these things. They want to push the needle, see how you feel about it, pull it back a little bit, push it again a little bit more, see how you feel about it. It's like, they saw how people treated Alex Jones, and they saw how they treated Donald Trump. Yes, what Alex Jones said was absolutely insane, but he also apologized for it, and he's going to be fine. I think he's worth like a $420 million, whatever. But like, our politicians are constantly trying to take your freedom away one step at a time, and people are clapping this. That's why it's just like, you are an idiot. You are a useful idiot. If you clap at what the FBI did to Donald Trump, you are just a useful idiot, period. I mean, change my mind. But here's an old clip about Hillary Clinton emails.
Somebody who is absolutely disqualified from becoming president. They destroyed BlackBerries with hammers in the State Department. That's not what we want the president to say.
Actually,
and by the way,
Evan, hang on, Evan Perez. Hammers, fact check that for me, please, on the fly.
Yes, they did, Brooke. As you mentioned, there were 13 devices, mobile devices, and 5 iPads that the FBI said that, in some way were used with her private email server, and they did, in some cases, just destroy them with hammers when they were done using them.
Oh, but that's okay. She's a Clinton, so you can do whatever you want if you're a Clinton. I mean, are we ever going to find out what Bill Clinton did on the island? No, never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Okay. And then here's a perfect example of how feckless the Republican Party is. And this is from my home state in South Carolina, Tim Scott. It's funny. I know Tim Scott. I've met him. I've had lunch with him. I've talked to him for an extended period of time. I thought he was a good dude. I thought he's got a great story about how he grew up working for Chick-fil-A and dealing with racism in the South and overcoming that and showing how if you just work hard, you can get a lot of great stuff in life. And he's a perfect example of an American story. But this idea that if you are Republican, yeah, CBS, exactly. Communist broadcasting systems. My grandpa used to say that to me all the time when I was a kid. I had no idea. I was just like, yeah, communists, sure, whatever. I don't know. But now, totally. Here is Tim Scott today talking about the FBI raid. Watch.
We are joined now by Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. He is here because he's the author of a new book. It's called America, a Redemption Story.
First of all, can we just talk about how annoying it is hearing about a politician with a new book or somebody that's on like Fox News or CNN is putting out a new book and you're just like, I don't need a book from you. I hear your crap every day. I don't need this book. It ends with BS for a reason. I've never even thought about that. That's funny. All right, Tim Scott, he's got a new book, so he's got to make the rounds. Okay.
We are joined now by Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. He is here because he's the author of a new book. It's called America, a Redemption Story. Senator, good morning.
Thank you.
The book right here. It's a good read. I think it's going to connect with a lot of people. It's got 2 chapters on the former president, President Trump. You clearly have a good relationship with him. He's very nice to your mom.
Yes.
But we're at this extraordinary moment in American history.
Whoa, what? Yeah, Trump loved your mom, didn't he? Okay.
Where that former president is the subject of multiple investigations, and his home was searched by the FBI overnight. So I have to put the question to you. Do you still feel that he is the best representative of the Republican Party?
Certainly is the largest voice in American politics, period, Republican or Democrat, and it looks like he'll continue to be. The more focus you put on him, the more likely the supporters will rally around him. There is a huge divide in our country.
But wait a second, before you go, Senator, that wasn't the question.
You said largest, which is largest.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we don't do to our Democratic candidates that come on here. We're gonna hold you accountable to that question, you son of a gun. You almost got away from us at that moment. Senator Tim Scott, go for it.
Objectively true, right? He won a straw poll.
But do you still think
best representation?
Yes.
Well, I mean, the good news is I get to answer the question how I see that question. But the truth is that he is, without any question, the most powerful voice in all of politics. And that's why so many people, left and right, continue to focus on President Trump.
Remember when people used to think that Tim Scott was going to be the next VP for Donald Trump because he's black and Republican? Like, he just kind of throws him under the bus in this interview. So you're just like, what? That one goes away, which thank God, because he's not he's more moderate. He's more of a Mitch McConnell Republican or a Lindsey Graham Republican. You know, he's quicker to vote to give money to Ukraine than he is to give money to his own citizens. That's just the reality of many people in the side of the aisle.
Trump.
Yeah, but why this is such a dangerous moment in our history, and a lot of people pointed this out, is because we are divided. There are wings of our government that are supposed to be nonpartisan, but now seem to be politicized, and one of those wings is the FBI. So do you think the FBI, do you still believe and trust in the FBI to do its job, even with a former president, in a nonpartisan way, or do you believe, as the former president says, that the FBI is executing a witch hunt?
Well, we've had the FBI before. The Judiciary Committee just in the last 2 weeks trying to figure out why they do what they do. And there's been lots of questions before this raid about whether or not the FBI is doing their job apolitical. And we don't know the answer to that question yet. This is probably going to raise more questions, in my opinion. We need to let this play out and see exactly what happens, but we should all have been.
Let it play out and see exactly what happens, says Tim Scott. Let's just see how many people the FBI go after. Let's just let it play out. If it puts everyone in jail, just see what happens. I know the Nazis are starting to put people in camps, but let it play out. Let's see what happens. You never know what's going to happen in the end. They could decide it was a wrongful thing to do, wrong thing. This is our freaking Republicans, feckless, weak Republicans who are trying to play the both sides aisle-ism thing that used to work back when we were civil, back when we had politicians that didn't bail out people because they were voters for them or weren't the FBI being used as a political wing. That used to work. You are no longer allowed to just try to be apolitical in conversation anymore. It doesn't work because your voice, you're seeing on the other side of the aisle, and they see you as a doormat in today's world. They don't see you as a stand-up human being. We live in a country that's very Marxist, but nihilistic, where it's like everyone wants to watch somebody's character burn, watch their lifestyles burn, their career go to flames. So you can't be apolitical in a nihilistic society because they will just burn you alive. And they They'll ruin your life. And then at that point, you'll realize, oh, I shouldn't have been apolitical so long. I should have been actually fighting for freedom and fighting for the American people's rights because it mattered more than just trying to be a civil leader. It's like in a time of immense strife and war, you can't be lackadaisical. You can't just like look at what goes on in the world. You can't look at slavery or look at sex trafficking or like these evil things and just go, well, we gotta just figure it out and we gotta stop all this. No, you have to engage and you have to use anger and righteousness in the right way. Yeah, people are sick. Exactly. A witch hunt sounds about right in a kangaroo court like they did. Yeah, the whole Alex Jones court scene was it's just a gotcha moment and just silly. And it was stupid of what his lawyers did. And I'm not trying to defend him, but like, yeah, I don't know. He's a perfect example of what I don't do on my show is that I'm not going to go after everyday citizens. Like a lot of people make fun of like the libs of TikTok videos and stuff like that. And I think those are good talking points and good things to talk about to engage in culture and understand culture. But these people are just average, everyday citizens. So I'm not going to put them on my platform, put them out on all social media platforms, mock them, ridicule them, because they're just average, everyday citizens. Now, politicians and news anchors and stuff like that, fair game. They deserve all the criticism and everything that they are given, because of how much power they have over people's lives and how much they lie to your face. So I think there's a difference. And so what Alex Jones did, he should just don't talk about citizens that aren't in the spotlight. Don't talk about people that aren't willing to engage and put themselves out there. These people were just people that went through a horrific event. Leave them alone. And so I think that's the lesson from that. But yeah, of course they were. Anybody that is that outspoken against the establishment and has that many views and is that rich because of it, they're going to do everything in their power to go after him, and they will find every slip up they possibly can. That's why he needs to never talk about public citizens ever again. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So that's why I don't do it. I don't want to get in I don't want to defame anyone. I don't want to I don't have money for that freaking crap. If they go after you for emotional damage, just think of the type of censorship and crazy lawsuits that will come from this. Exactly. Honestly, a lot of the stuff with like Alex Jones, Trump and stuff like that has made me kind of question if I should continue to do shows like this, because I have another job. I have other things going on in my life. I do this because I want to like engage with politics and engage with culture with you, and I enjoy creating stuff. I enjoy laughing and mocking stuff, and I think it's important to for you to have somebody like myself that we can both look at each other in the screen and say, "I'm with you." I want to get down to the truth together. I don't want to just lay down and surrender and be like, and have that black flag moment of like, there's no hope. I want the white pill. I want there to be hope in this world to fight. And the only way there's hope is when you and I look at each other and go, I believe what you believe. Let's make a difference. Let's change people's lives. Let's get the truth out there. Let's do whatever it takes to spread the knowledge. And people that are willing to do that, it's going to live a life of hardship. But some of us are just born for it. And I've always tried to be countercultural. It's just part of my psyche, I guess. So I can't help it. If it was all Republicans in power and they were all doing insane, stupid stuff, I would go just as hard on them. So this idea that it's like I only go after Democrats, that's who's in power right now, and that's who is ruining our lives right now. So will there be a day where I just mock Republicans all day long? God, I hope so, because they're a lot easier to deal with. They let me live. Okay, let's keep listening to this freaking interview. Sorry.
Stunned and surprised and shocked at what happened yesterday. The real question is, what is the Federal Records Act? And B, what are we talking about? It has to be something of incredible magnitude for at least my side of the aisle to say that was warranted. Without that, I think we're going to find ourselves in a very big mess as it relates to the credibility of the FBI.
Well, so you don't have any concern that
chuck it if the world is toast anywhere. Yeah, exactly.
They're going to find anything at the Mar-a-Lago?
Well,
cheers.
Really, as opposed to rushing to judgment, the most important thing that we can do is let it play out, because I have no idea what they were looking for, and I don't think anybody knows what they were looking for. On that point,
I think
the most important we can do is not rush to judgment. Really, Tim? Really? Take longer than 5 to 10 minutes, and let's talk about the track record of the FBI within the last couple of years. Let's not even go down like 10 to 15 years. Just the last couple of years. And you shouldn't have to wait for it to play out. It was like when I heard about the Governor Whitner being the whole kidnapping thing, I was just like, as soon as I read about that, I thought, that is so weird that was going on. There were really guys. And then when you found out that the majority of people who were willing to do it were all FBI agents, like, are you freaking kidding me? So you're just encouraging people to commit crimes? That's what the FBI is? And that's what they've done for so long? Okay.
I think it's interesting that as you sit before us today, you are not saying that former President Trump is the best representative of the Republican Party. And you're also not saying, don't worry, America, you can trust the FBI.
Well, I think that I am saying that I love my new book, and I'm conversation about why I'm giving second chances.
FBI director.
Oh my God, that is literally so sick. I hate when politicians do that. I'm not going to answer that question, but will you buy my book to make me rich? I need a new house. I want to be as rich as the Bidens. God.
Yes. Chris Wray was appointed by Donald Trump. We should point that out, too. But in your book, you say, when it comes to President Trump, rather than try to soften his hard edges, you found it best to learn to utilize them. And on January 6th, you said it was a tragic day, a culmination of individuals making bad choices. You do not hold Donald Trump in the book anyway accountable for what happened January 6th.
Well, Gail, one of the reasons why your viewers would want to buy the book is to get that behind-the-scenes view of what actually happened at the Capitol, as opposed to just hearing the media's account for it, which most were not inside the United States Capitol. I was. We can walk through how it feels to be hunted. You walk through rolling your sleeves up, taking your tie off, and literally asking yourself, what weapon can I find to defend myself until I die?
You talked about having
I had a pen in my hand, absolutely.
You talked about actually calming everybody down and say, look, everybody, let's just take a second. But I want to go back to Donald Trump's role in it for just a second. He has taken no responsibility for it. On January 6th, you heard from rioters who said, look, we went because he asked us to. We were there because he called us there. Doesn't the president don't his words have power? And shouldn't he be more careful with his words?
What is his words that made people do it? Go to the Capitol peacefully? People say all these things about Trump, and then they don't have to quantify it or have any critique, like legitimate critiques. They just say these things with no accountability, because that's what like these programs are. I can't believe how much money these people make for saying these outlandish things that, you're like, you can't fact check them because they'll go, well, this is just the truth. This is what everyone believes. If you don't believe that, it's because you're a conspiracy, like you have a problem.
Yes.
He was encouraging people that he knew were armed.
Well, I don't know that anyone knows that the crowd was armed when they called.
And the crowd wasn't armed. Let's get that one let's fix that a little bit. There were only one side of the aisle was armed that day.
To come to the Capitol was put out there, number one. Number two, I would say this, though. Every person has the responsibility of taking fully the decisions that they make and be responsible for those decisions. I think giving that to anybody other than the individual is giving the individual a pass.
But doesn't the president have responsibility too, Senator?
Oh, of course.
Some would say the most responsibility.
I would say that we all have the most responsibility for our own words. This is easy.
God, I love how they just try to put it on him. It's just like, I have responsibility for my own actions. If I start blaming other people for my own actions, that is not a healthy way to cope in life. That's not a healthy way to live. Then you have no accountability for horrible things that you say. You can just get away with anything. Just another gear is perverted and heartless machine. Exactly. I mean, that is such a statement in itself of like blaming Trump for other people's actions or other conspiracy theorists, the QAnon crowd, stuff like that, putting them. And again, of course, the conspiracy theory started out in a very logical understanding of like there are people in government, there are this establishment people in power that are sex trafficking people and getting away with it. We saw with Epstein. So it started out in a place that any logical person would look at and go, holy crap, they're right. But then it got like crazy to the point where they were talking about Trump was like coming back to power, and like there was like some weird things that were coming on, and you just like, what is this? So to say that that is Trump's fault, it's just silly. It's like, I hate when they try to hold leaders accountable for the actions of their flock, as if like unless the leader actually said, you need to go out and you need to do these things, and we're going to take down the country this way, and we're going to go after this stuff, that is a problem. But I never heard any of those words.
For us to put the blame on someone else. Right. But as the guy that felt hunted in the moment and watching my Senate colleagues look for a route to escape, one of the things you'll see in the book is how important it is in the middle of a chaotic situation to find peace, clarity, and then be decisive in going back out same evening.
It sounded terrifying.
Make the decision.
Can I talk about chapter 5 in the book? Because the headline is Tim Scott for President. I go, he's getting ready to tell us something. Tim Scott for President.
God.
The beginning.
Throw up.
Beginning of chapter 5. Right. And then you go on to say it's for president of your high school. Tim Scott for president. Tim Scott for president.
Yes.
Then you go on to talk about it was a campaign that you ran. But it does raise a question. Many people think when you're writing a book like this, it's because you are thinking about running for president.
Certainly reads that way. And your publisher apparently thought, you know, this guy's running for president because they wrote it in the front of the book in a message.
Talk to it. Let me share. Break it down for you. Let me break it out right here for you. This is breaking news. Please listen carefully.
Okay, we're listening.
If you're going to run for president, you don't say in your book, according to my publishers.
Exactly, Giovanni.
That's right. They did make a typo error.
I failed civics, but even I got that part right. There's no presidential election in 2022. There is, however, a re-election campaign in 2022, and I am a part of that. So I'm looking forward to representing the people in South Carolina for hopefully the next 6 years.
I know, and you love South Carolina, blah, blah, blah. And the people
that
love
South Carolina,
blah, blah. We all understand that. But what would it take for you to consider a run for president? Do you think you would bring something to the table that maybe other candidates don't have at this point?
I certainly believe that my best objective today is to make sure that I'm as successful as possible in my reelection. And as a part of my reelection strategy, it is to make sure that the voters and the constituents of South Carolina, whether you vote for me or not, see me as your United States Senator. Ultimately, you should not worry about what's next if you haven't finished what's now.
Right. Right. Now this book is titled America.
That was like a preaching statement. Oh, I hate that crap so much. Like, I hate when it's clearly like a pre-written line and he's like, I've been waiting to say this. God, it's so gross. All right, let's just keep going down. I can't do that anymore. Common news broadcasting systems. All right, so I have a bunch of clips lined up about what happened yesterday with FBI raid. But here's Donald Trump's attorney. Mr. Tubbs, what up? Writing a book? How original. I know, exactly. It's, of course. Everyone writes a book and then does their rounds and then announces their presidency with the funds that mysteriously appeared out of nowhere. Here's Alina Abhaba.
That's not by the books. If you're sending in agents with weapons that are seizing documents, you can't tell the person's lawyers that they can't watch what the FBI is doing.
Correct. They said they cannot watch. They need to go outside. And they came in, as I understand it, wearing backpacks, wearing things, go into his home, his private residence. He wasn't there. So the story that something's being destroyed doesn't really work out. No one's there. He's in Bedminster, New Jersey. He's not there. And this is truly just the scariest moment as an attorney for me to watch, because when I took my oath of office, I believed in people like the FBI and the DOJ would be there to protect us, to defend us, especially a former president. I haven't seen anyone else be treated like this in my life. Russia hoax, Letitia James. You know, and I can tell you honestly, Jesse, as somebody who is very intimately related with all of his legal cases, there is more than people know that you'll be hearing, that this lines up perfectly, that I can tell you that they are working in tandem together to try and take him down. And if he wasn't ahead in the polls, this wouldn't be happening.
So you think this is a...
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think it has nothing to do with the polls. It has everything to do with midterms coming up. Has everything to do with he will announce that he's running for president again. That's anyone says otherwise is ridiculous. You don't know Donald Trump, but like it has everything to do with that, and the fact that how much they hate him. If Donald Trump is ever elected, will he actually drain the swamp like he told everyone he was going to? I'm not sure. He needs to start with actually hiring good people around him this time, as opposed to nepotism and old faces.
Conspiracy between several different legal investigations working together.
100%.
And it's politically motivated.
100%.
What were these documents? You're saying there's a letter from Kim Jong-un, there's a letter from President Obama. Is this really what they were after?
Listen, it's a NARA search. NARA, the National Archives. We're not talking about
That's not
Jimmy
NARA.
Hoffa.
I think he's kicking himself for not doing it when he had the chance. I hope so. I hope that like I don't put like all my faith in his words. I'm not that kind of podcast. I'm not that kind of person, because I just think a lot of politicians, talk out their butts when they talk. I don't know why people assume that he's different, but especially a businessman, a salesman. I mean, of course, 90% of the stuff that comes out of their mouth is just people pleasing and stuff like that. But I hope this time he does it, because he has every right reason to do it now, especially. I mean, if I don't know, like the way he didn't really respond to a lot of January 6th people who were arrested over trespassing that didn't get a trial and that were locked away for a long time. The fact that he just decided not to mention it, that kind of stuff really annoys me about him. They were worried sick that Trump will run for of course, Trump's a cowboy on a steel horse. He rides. He wanted like fat.
Did he take documents that discuss if aliens existed? This is a joke. This is memento. And quite honestly, I'm concerned that they may have planted something. At this point, who knows? I don't trust the government.
Whoa, planted something? That sounds like something Black Lives Matter would accuse the cops of doing. It's funny how things turn around in circles, don't they? It's all a circle. It's a circle. He should have released the Kennedy. Oh my God, I know. Well, he should have pardoned Edward Snowden, and he should have pardoned WikiLeaks. What's his face? I'm blanking.
And that's a very frightening thing as an American. If I didn't want to be an American,
Julian Assange.
This is third world stuff. We've heard it. This is Cuba. This is not our country.
People are saying, oh, well,
Cuba,
why doesn't
Venezuela,
the president's
China.
attorney just release the...
This is something China does. I mean, is it a coincidence that Nancy Pelosi and a lot of people on the left are talking about a one China policy, and that Taiwan has always been with one China? All of a sudden like came around in circle. Is it any coincidence that they're bigging up how great China is, and Nancy Pelosi talking about China being one of the most freest countries in the world, and then calling it a democracy, which is just laughable? Like, do you not know what you're saying out of your mouth? It's ridiculous.
The warrant, they were probably handed a warrant before the feds showed up to kick the door down. Why wouldn't you do that?
Actually, my understanding from the attorneys on the ground was that they weren't given the warrant. They were allowed to see it and then taken back.
Oh, so they don't have a copy of it.
That's my understanding.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
Alina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
She is a straight shooter. Thanks, Alina. Thanks, Alibaba. All right, I'm going to keep hearing what she has to say.
With the president when he found out about this raid?
I was.
What was the reaction?
Honestly, I think he was calmer than you would expect because there is
Trump was just like, they're raiding my house. Who cares? Sure. If the FBI all of a sudden started raiding my home, yeah, I wouldn't be calm. I'd be like, what the frick?
Never a dull moment in his life. This man, I don't know how he wakes up every day. He is consistently under siege, but this one took it to a whole new level.
So the lawyers for the president have been dealing with the feds over handing documents over that the National Archives has been whining about. Why all of a sudden did men with guns show up?
The question is a great one. The reason nobody can figure it out is because there is no answer. What has happened is completely unconstitutional. It's a violation of the democracy that we have created. They are the people supposed to be defending the democracy.
They're not defending anything. It's just like the Patriot Act. It's just all a farce when it comes to serving the American people. I think this is some of the funniest stuff for the day is our press secretary, of course, because she's the only one that will actually answer the press's questions when it comes to anything in the Biden administration or anything that's going on. Let me refresh my camera real quick. The fact that she's like pretending like Biden had no idea what was going on. Yeah, right.
Repeatedly that the president learned of the news of the FBI visit to Mar-a-Lago the other day through news reports. Can you tell us anything more? Was he watching the news? Was he scrolling Twitter? Did someone in his staff flag it for him?
Biden was enjoying a nice cup of ice cream with his friends, and they were playing backgammon.
I can tell you this: he was not aware of the was it the Mar-a-Lago raid? I don't know what you.
Oh, what is it, this Mar-a-Lago raid thing? I don't know how to lie very well, so I'm trying to come up with the words on the spot. Get better at lying.
You guys are calling it?
Whatever you guys are calling this Mar-a-Lago thing, I've never heard of. Who is this Trump guy? Like, I don't know these words. These are all new terms to me. I need to look it up.
Before it happened, so I can tell you that did not know it. He learned about it really like all of us did. I'm sure maybe someone on his team flagged it for him, but he was not aware. What I can tell you...
It's not... I know she's like trying to pretend and lie about what's him not knowing. But it's also not a good look that he had no idea. Like, what the frick?
Definitively and for sure, he was not aware of this. Nobody in the White House was. We were not given a heads up, and we did not know about what happened yesterday.
Afterwards,
Mar-a-Lago. Exactly. What's that Mar-a-Lago thing? I've never heard of that. Somebody tell me about Mar-a-Lago. I've heard so much about this. Here's another. Of course, today the press was just asked a million questions about what was going on.
And I have a question, Karine.
Thank you. Adjacent to the news of the day from yesterday, since the news of the search of former President Trump's home became public, there's been a lot of reporting on chatter among extremists online about the possibility of violence, people talking about Civil War II, et cetera, et cetera. The president put out a domestic...
I love they call the people talking about like Civil War and stuff like that, they're calling them extremists, but like what the FBI did wasn't extreme whatsoever. It's like, nothing extreme about that. God.
Violent extremism strategy last year. Is the White House in contact with the Justice Department, DHS, or other departments about preparing for possible...
Who's running the country if he didn't know? Oh, he is not running the country, my guy. I mean, we're going to get to a clip about Obama is exactly. I don't know who it is. Was it Stephen? Who's that Obama? high-ranking administrator that works with Biden now. I forget her name, but I think she is running it. Uh-oh, we got another song from Lola. Here we go. So now I come to you with orange arms, no pellets. I'm going to say, here I am with orange arms, hoping you see what your vote means to me. Orange arms. I don't know that song, but it sounds like a country song.
Violence as a result of this?
So we've been very clear, and so our message is this, that the president and this White House, there's no place for political violence in this country. People have the...
Unless it's under the name of racism, you're allowed to do whatever you want. You can be as violent as you want, kill as many people as you want, cops, regular citizens, destroy whole cities. That's okay. But I swear to God, if you decide to stage, attempt, and engage in insurrection-like activities, we're coming for you.
Right to raise their voices peacefully, but we would strongly condemn, as we have many times from here. The president has condemned any efforts to plan violent behavior of any kind, and so we would ask Americans to remain peaceful.
This is just another reminder that I do use a streaming software that streams out to Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at the same time. So if you ever see me reading out comments or from chat and you're like, who the frick is Derek even talking to? It's because I'm doing it from a different source.
In this time,
I'm not just making up people talking to me, I swear to God.
I don't have anything more to share about the particular policy that you're asking me about.
Oh, God. All right, next one. This lady constantly looking at her notes. Of course she is. She's like one of the worst liars. Okay, here's a perfect example of how feckless, again, the Republican Party. We did the Tim Scott round thing. It's funny that Lindsey Graham had some negative words about what happened. At least he had some cojones, but I can't stand that guy.
What is your reaction to the FBI raid yesterday at Mar-a-Lago?
I'm here today to talk about the flood and the recovery from the flood.
I want to talk about Trump. I don't like Trump. He's a bad guy. He don't like me, and I don't like him. I like Liz Cheney. I'm Mitch McConnell. Here we go. Here's another question that our famous Perrine.
On a different topic, the FBI is serving a search warrant on the former president's residence in Florida. Was the president or anyone at the White House aware of that search warrant, or has anyone at the White House or the president been briefed in the aftermath of that search warrant being executed?
No, the president was not briefed, was not aware of it. No one at the White House.
Cocaine Mitch, exactly.
Was given a heads up. No, that did not happen.
Yeah, Biden had no idea what was going on. Part of me feels like she is actually telling the truth. All right, here's Marsha Blackburn talking about it. Let's see what she has to say. Wow, look how bright this is. It's a lot of bright stuff going on. Two blonde babes going after it.
Senator, we welcome you. Thank you very much for being here. Obviously, a lot of us, we saw the reaction last night from many in your party. Yeah. I've seen you very active in the social media space, really
Watergate 2.0, exactly.
To the DOJ for this move.
100%.
What is your thought at this hour as we wait to learn more on what led up to this raid of Mar-a-Lago?
And Sandra, what we need to hear is a response from DOJ and the FBI as to why they did this, why this timing, Why?
Oh, I love old memes.
They were looking for, because it is unprecedented. And if it is the Presidential Records Act, they didn't go after Obama on this. They didn't do this to Nixon. They didn't do it to Bill Clinton about the blue dress. They didn't do it to Hillary about her computer. There is a way that we, as a government, handle the request for information from a former president, and going in with 100 FBI agents, 30 go.
I didn't even know that. 100? What the frick? It's like, didn't they send like 2 agents to deal with the pretend noose for Bubba Wallace? Our government is a joke. It just a joke. Sending 100 agents. What did you think was going to happen? They have like this boogeyman about Trump. They have like such Trump derangement syndrome that they just assume that like all war is going to break out if they just go after him. What do you think about Epstein's defender signed off? Exactly. Yeah, no. We talked about that earlier about how he is tied to like this. It's a perfect example of we still don't know a lot of the people that went to Epstein's Islands who sexually assaulted and weren't part of the sex trafficking ring, people that engaged with stuff. We only know a couple of names, but this idea that it's like only Clinton and Prince Andrew or whatever his name is, but we have other records of like Obama being there and stuff like that. The fact that they're all tied and the fact that they're going after him, it's just weird. It makes the conspiracy theorists look, even the craziest ones look normal because of how insane that tie is there. It's just insane. Maybe those are all documents I don't know.
Into the house.
I don't know. Maybe he had information that will lead to Hillary Clinton being arrested.
Refusing to allow President Trump's lawyers into the house.
It is a big house.
This is unprecedented. And of course we want answers. I have called for our committee.
We need one FBI agent for every square inch.
Judiciary Committee to look into this, to investigate it. And, Sandra, we had that hearing with Christopher Wray last week, and we have the opportunity to submit our questions for.
I'm kind of loving this green sweatshirt because it's just
a response.
Perfect.
Finishing up that between now and Thursday. And I've been working on my list of QFRs to send in to ask, what did you know about this? When did you know about it?
Okay, I'm not gonna. They're not gonna find out any information. I guarantee to you, they'll never get down to the bottom. No one will ever be held accountable. Here's our boy. Our boy. I'm just kidding. Newt Gingrich is always good for a good laugh. At least for me. He's like Senator Kennedy for me.
I was Speaker of the House for 4 years. I get it.
Yes.
I was in the room. I negotiated with Bill Clinton. We got 4 balanced budgets in a row. We passed welfare reform. We did real things.
Let's not talk about you and your relationship to Bill Clinton too much. We literally just started talking about the blue just a second ago.
And I look at what's going on right now. First of all, it's clear that it's a machine. I mean, you don't pass things with a 50-vote Senate without a machine. You don't pass things with a 3-vote margin in the House without a machine. And it's clear that the machine has decided that this is why I worry about lawyers around Trump who actually think we're still involved in the law. There is no law here.
Exactly.
I mean, anybody who says to you, well, for example, if only he were a candidate, they wouldn't prosecute him. That's crazy. These people are going to do whatever they have to do.
That's right.
And anybody who tells you what the precedent is doesn't, as you.
I can't believe Charlie Kirk has finally joined the white pill, black pill people hood. I know Charlie Kirk is like anti-libertarian, thinks libertarians are idiots, which I wholeheartedly disagree with him, but. It's good to see a little bit of anarchy slip in. The minute you start to realize that the chips are not stacked in your favor and this idea that you can vote your way to freedom, things start to change. 4 balanced budgets in a row.
I used the phrase at the very beginning. We have crossed the Rubicon.
What's a balanced budget?
We have left, as Mark Levin says.
Wait, what did he say?
That
he just, sorry. The minute he started talking about Mark Levin, bleh.
This is why I worry about lawyers around Trump who actually think we're still involved in the law. There is no law here.
Exactly.
I mean, anybody who says to you, well, for example, if only he were a candidate, they wouldn't prosecute him. That's crazy. These people are going to do whatever they have to do.
That's right.
And anybody who tells you what the precedent is doesn't, as you used the phrase at the very beginning, we have crossed the Rubicon. We have left, as Mark Levin says, we have left constitutional America. And we're now in an uncharted future. And only the election of Trump and a Republican majority will get us back into a constitutional system. And if we can't win that fight, then we will, in fact, be in a power-driven, corrupt system that will threaten every one of us.
Again, it's not. Sometimes I wonder it's because he's older, but or maybe it's because I'm more libertarian than conservative, because I read too much history. And so like this idea that this is a new chapter. No, this has been happening. Again, like Ron Paul said about how Woodrow Wilson put his people that dissented or went against him in prison, and like we put the Japanese in internment camps and stuff like that. This idea that the deep state crossed the line for the first time. No, it's just silly. It's just because you aren't using it at that moment. Oh,
sorry, a double Tim Scott.
That's my bad. But here is this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Trump immediately put out a video after being raided, basically announcing he's running for president. But I don't know if you've seen it. I haven't seen it. Let's watch it together.
We are a nation in
I hope
decline.
it's epic.
Ooh,
we are a failing nation.
Scary.
Whoa, is that Agent Smith? Is this the Matrix? Keep going. He's not wrong.
We are a nation that has the highest inflation in over 40 years. Where the stock market just finished the worst first half.
Let's also remember that some of that inflation is due to you during COVID, sending out people checks, bailing out companies, giving them, loans. I know a lot of people like to pretend like that didn't happen, but let's not also pretend that a lot of this inflation is due to Biden's policies and what's going on in the energy sector. So yes and no. Exactly. Mr. Tubbs, exactly how I feel. At least you're agreeing with me. Okay,
Half of a year in more than 5 decades. We are a nation that has the highest energy cost in its history.
Exactly.
And we are no longer energy independent or...
You think energy prices are high now? Wait till this winter. And I'm going to get to an article that should make you laugh a little bit, because if you're not laughing, you're crying.
Or energy dominant, which we were just 2 short years ago.
God, remember those gas prices? Oh.
We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for oil.
Good people.
We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers and American
This isn't talked about enough, this Afghanistan debacle.
Worth of the finest military equipment in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. We're a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've never seen anything like this. We're a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is about all you get. We're a nation where...
You're getting killed on your lifted F-250? Dude, I bet. I got a lifted truck too, but it's not a 250.
Free speech is no longer allowed. Where crime is rampant like never before. Where the economy has been collapsing. Where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020.
Again, another W.
We're a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it's taken from the United States to build a military to rival
With the thunder still going. This
we are a nation that over the past 2 years is no longer respected or listened to all around the world.
Yes.
And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty and freedom and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every list.
Thunder sounds like Arizona. Yeah. Very desert storm.
We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke.
True.
But soon we will have greatness again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot.
It's pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie.
There is no
That's good
victory
editing.
we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. Ever, ever, ever. We will never give in. We will never give up, and we will never, ever back down. We will never let you down.
This
as
is a
long
good
as
ad.
we are confident and united. The tyrants we are.
This is a good ad because I'm glad Republicans are finally waking up to using emotions in ads, because that is what the Democrats have capitalized so well on, and Republicans are just like, nah, I'm just going to talk about lowering taxes. Like, that doesn't resonate with the average human being. Like, yes, I want lower taxes too, but I want you to make me feel good.
Fighting do not stand even a little chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again.
Okay. The best is yet to come. I used to go to a church, then that was their slogan. Hilarious how that has become a talking point. Good ad. Good ad. I like that there was some redemption at the end. It felt good. I was kind of hoping that he was going to break out in a YMCA song at the end. Young man. There's no need. Let's hear Lindsey Graham actually talking about Mar-a-Lago. I like that Lindsey Graham likes to poke his head up every once in a while and pretend like he's conservative and not part of the establishment. He's like, here's my moment in fame.
I know doing this 90 days before an election reeks of politics. I know this is a dangerous precedent to set.
Much like you coming out defending Trump in this moment reeks of politics, but I digress.
And at the end of the day, there's a tremendous burden on the Department of Justice, in my view, to explain their actions, and I hope they will. I talked to the president just about an hour ago with Henry. The one thing I can tell you is that I believed he was going to run before. I'm stronger in my belief now. Every Republican I've talked to, my phone has been lit up. What the hell are these people doing? Can you imagine if the roles were reversed here? This happened in the Trump world against a prominent Democrat?
I know they're like, yeah. But again, this idea that this is like all new, like I just can't I can't say that enough. This isn't new. This is just another reminder. This is new for a lot of people who aren't like you and me, who read the news, watch the news, engage with politics, engage with culture constantly, is fact checking things and I like to wait before a story gets unfolded. Like the whole Governor Whitmer plot and stuff like that, I waited a long time before I actually addressed it because I wanted to make sure that the facts were all out there. But now that I'm at the age I am now, and for how long I've been doing this, when I see an FBI raid, like Project Veritas being raided, like stuff like that, this isn't new. I'm just glad people are finally waking up to this. People are red pilled, white pilled, black pilled, whatever. People are finally waking up to the idea that the FBI, the IRS, so much of the government is not your friend. They're not looking out for your best. They don't want you to have freedom. They want to be the ones in power, and they want to give you your freedom. It's like, hey, mommy, can I go to the store today? Yes, but you have to touch my hand like that. I don't know if you've seen that monkey movie. I forget. Planet of the Apes, where he's training him, and he's like, he has to go like that to say that he can do stuff. Like that's what the government wants. They're like, here's your allotted income for the week. Use it wisely. Make sure you only buy supplies you need, and don't ever expend. Hey, don't look at us going out to eat and dinner at French Laundry. Make sure to reelect me. I'm Gavin Newsom. I'm actually a stand-up human being. I honestly am at the point now where I'm like, I don't think this midterm is going to change a lot, but it might change everything. I just hope that the right people are elected, and I hope people vote for people based on ideas and principles and things that they stand up for, rather than what political party they're affiliated with. I'd be just as happy to vote for a Democrat who is libertarian-minded as I would for the Republican who's libertarian. I don't care about the party affiliation. I just care about their ideas and if they are willing to fight for my freedom, period. And fight for me to have a certain style of living and that we don't become a third world country, because I feel like that we're on track to do that. We're like intentionally crippling our country for green energy investments to think like it's a good thing. That hand touch is probably the mark of the beast, probably.
Raid, of course, is what.
All right. This should be good. I saw this Patriot takes. You can never tell. Sometimes they're over the top, but this is the part of the whole Mar-a-Lago thing that we might get down to crazy town, but I like it. Let's go down.
Raid, of course, is what we say BS.
Yes.
They're not going to find anything, just like they haven't found anything on the Russian collusion. They didn't find anything on January 6th. So
Sure.
allegedly they think they have these documents hiding somewhere. But what they really know is Trump has information. He has information about the Bushes, the Johnsons, the Kennedys. You know, they thought this was this.
See, I agree with the first part, but this part, I'm like, I don't know. Could be true, could not be true. But this guy believes it with all his heart, soul, and mind, and I love that. What Democrats and Congress do you know that are libertarian? No, I don't know any, H. Potter. I'm just saying, I'm trying to say that, like, I don't care if they're a Democrat or Republican. I care about their ideas and their views and what they stand for more than what party they're affiliated with. Like, I'd be more than happy to vote for a Republican. I'd be more than happy to vote for a Libertarian or a Democrat if they align with the same views as me. Like, I don't care. I'm at the point now where I feel like it's not safe if you're more libertarian, conservative minded. It's not safe just voting for a Republican because that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be aligned with your views and values. There's so many Republicans that there are too many to name for you, like Liz Cheney, Dick. To say that because she's Republican, does that make sense? I'm not saying that there are any Democrats that are libertarian-minded. I'm just saying, like, if there was one. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not that crazy.
This presidential boy club. Well, Trump's not one of them. Trump is one of us. So he definitely has information, but unfortunately they're not going to find anything in Mar-a-Lago. So what they did is they suppressed him. They're trying to suppress from announcing his candidacy because they went after Trump, the citizen, yesterday, and not Trump, the candidate. So hopefully he becomes a candidate today or tomorrow, so this can just stop.
All right, there we go. I don't know why that was such a crazy take. That didn't seem that crazy to me, but I saw so many people retweeting that video, and I was like, okay. I think this is a perfect example of how I feel in so many ways. Elon, take it away.
Then, at a certain point, really what you're doing is capital allocation. So you're not, it's not money for personal expenditures. What you're doing is capital allocation. And it does not make sense to take the job of capital allocation away from people who have demonstrated great skill in capital allocation and give it to an entity that has demonstrated very poor skill in capital allocation, which is the government.
Exactly.
You can think of the government essentially as a corporation in the limit. The government is simply the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence, and where you have no recourse. So how much money do you want to give that entity?
That is going to trigger so many people. At this. Oh, I love it. Put that in my veins. It's so true. So, changed my mind. It's like the same people that put us in inflation, the same people that are making our lives worse, we expect that they themselves are going to change it for us. No chance. Okay, I'm kind of tired of Marsha Blackburn. I had all these clips tied up. Let's hear from the Peter Deuce about inflation and IRS. Let's change it up a little bit from talking about Trump. Here is Peter Ducey talking about the IRS. I think I have a few clips left. Let's check live news in case anything exciting is happening. No.
We're talking about the Democratic Party is really excited about this candidate. They think that Barnes might be able to beat a sitting Republican senator.
Sure. All right, here we go.
One more.
Ouch, that last part. I know exactly, Giovanni. That last part will trigger so many people. But, yeah. So many of our problems are caused by the government, and we expect the government to solve those problems. It's almost like a sadistic loop.
One more about the Inflation Reduction Act. Who around here decided that Americans were crying out for more interaction with the IRS?
I don't understand your question. You have to say more.
I don't understand your question because I don't understand what you mean by that.
Do you think it's going to be popular when the 87,000 new employees hired by the IRS go around and start auditing people to pay for the Inflation Reduction Act?
So it's very clear. The IRS commissioner was very clear on this. He said that on the record that this will only apply to those earning over $400,000. The commissioner said, and I quote, "These resources are absolutely not about increasing audit scrutiny on small businesses or middle-income Americans."
This is a lie. You can keep your doctor and your blah, blah, blah. It's just, these people are willing to lie because they know once the bills pass and people stop talking about it and we just start dealing with the more audits and IRS problems, that people are just going to take it. Just like 2 weeks to slow the spread. Keep listening.
As we have been planning, our investment of these enforcement resources is designed around Treasury directive that audit rates will not rise relative to recent years for households making under $400,000. So this is focus on those who are corporate wealthy tax cheats that Republicans, congressional Republicans wanted to defend. That's who they wanted to defend. They wanted to defend those corporate tax cheats. This is not about that. This is not about folks who make less than $400,000.
So no new audits on anybody making under $400,000 a year.
Very clear. No.
You know, and when people start getting audited, like you and me, they'll just say, well, it's just part of it. Not in my notes, so I can't answer exactly. You and I were going to get more audited. See, here's a perfect example right here. Here's a little shill of Washington Post. Glenn Kessler. Why does the IRS need $80 billion? Well, just look at the cafeteria. There are stacks of paper everywhere. There's no room for lunch ladies or little lunch boxes, and they can't get together and have their little lunches together. Grown adults don't need a cafeteria. Maybe people that work in the government do because they're children. God, like the fact that this is a Washington Post piece, which makes sense, that they're coming out defending more money being allocated to the IRS for auditing you. Washington Post. These people are ridiculous. I like that Stephen Miller says, someone please think of the IRS lunchroom. Exactly. Like literally my first thought was like, really? You're running an entire article with the foundation that the IRS needs money because of the cafeteria? That's your starting talking point? Hook, line, and sinker, I'm there. This would go away if we just abolished the current tax code and made doing one's taxes as easy as filling out a postcard. Imagine, which would never happen. But then no one could evade taxes if it was that easy. Our problem is the tax codes, not... it's like these people wrote these laws, and then they were like, I can't believe people are evading these taxes. Like, you wrote the law. Why is their only solution to give the IRS more money? How about change the laws? How about make it harder for people that are rich, that can just pay for a CPA, pay for lawyers to help them evade taxes, help them stay in the negative so they don't pay a lot of taxes, help their net profit or whatever, their margins to align correctly. Change that, and you watch how things change. But again, it's the people like you and me that can't afford a freaking CPA or an accountant in our lives to do our taxes for us, to help us evade as much taxes as possible, or to claim as much as possible, or write off as much as possible, or give to the right charity, the right amount. And like, we don't have that in our lives. And so you and I get screwed. And then when they audit us on these little mistakes and charge us, you know, $1,200 here, $1,500 here per year, that junk is going to add up fast and help pay for their thing. And they're going to pretend like they didn't, it's not their problem. Here's a perfect example of ESG in its finest. The UK right now, this is from Bloomberg, is bracing for blackouts in January as gas cuts in January due to an emergency plan. UK is planning for several days over the winter cold that may combine with gas shortages, leading to organized blackouts in the industry. It's okay. Don't worry, UK. You won't have electricity, but you're going to be grateful because you're helping the planet. If you don't think this is not, if you think this would never come to America, I think you have another thing coming. If people like Democrats continue to be voted in and they can continue to push for green energy and get rid of the things that we rely on, especially in some of the colder months, the months that are overcast days, there's no wind, it's just bleak. We have another thing coming. Again, I wish green energy would actually address things like nuclear energy. This is never a talking point for them because they know if we actually had nuclear energy would be so incredibly cheap for you and me, they couldn't make a bunch of money from it. You know? Yeah, it's so good. Even the energy sector doesn't really want nuclear energy at the end of the day because they can't make any money. Because why would you do that? If you can make much money with oil and green energy and stuff like that, why would you change to a very efficient and self-sustaining method for energy? Why would you do that? Well, because you don't care about the American people. Perfect example of, okay. This clip from Biden is literally no Christmas for you. Exactly. This clip from Biden is literally one of the most depressing clips I've ever seen of him. The media, corporate media, politicians like to pretend like he just has a speech impediment. He has a little problem reading the teleprompter. Everything's fine. And the press secretary talks about how Biden has more energy than her, is running laps around her. They like to pretend like everything's fine. But this video right here tells you it's not a speech impediment. It's something drastically worse. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this clip of Joe Biden today, but it should rattle you to the core, to the point where you're just like, we have a problem in this country. He's clearly not the president. He's clearly not all there. And I know there might be a part of you that might push back like, Derek, you're being over the top. You're being hyperbolic. You're being too crazy. Watch him very closely. He shook Schumer's hand. Shook Nancy. Look at him holding his hand out to shake again, and still holding it out after it's all done. This isn't a speech impediment. This is something more serious. No person that is cognitively all there would just hold his hand out after already shaking someone else's hand. And yesterday, he couldn't put on his jacket. Yeah, neurological, exactly. This is the most clear clip of a cognitive decline and a health emergency that our president has. This isn't like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like I laugh a lot of like the silly stuff he says, or he talks about controlling the weather. He talks about like not knowing he's president, or like not being allowed to speak. There's like all these like things. But this clip right here, it should weird you out. I mean, watch it again. It's just such a weird. It's so weird.
Now our great speaker, our partner, who all of these bills we've met. Now our great speaker, our partner who...
Oh, God. We are so screwed. We are just so freaking screwed. The only thing that's funny is watching a clip like this and listening to the corporate media and other politicians talk about him running for re-election. No way. No way. Because this time around, he's not going to be allowed to just hide in his basement, go hopped up on all the vitamin B, all the Adderall you can possibly take, and and have a debate. He's not going to be allowed to do that. He's going to actually have to have a campaign. He's totally gone. I know, exactly. It's just, it's sad. It's sad the fact that his family, his friends, other people around him are just pretending like it's not a thing. But I think, I truly think that his cognitive decline is slowly going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's going to get to the point where it's like too obvious that even the corporate chills at these media companies aren't going to be allowed, even by themselves, to resonate and argue their way out expertly, saying he's totally fine. They won't be allowed, because there'll be more and more clips like this where he has already said something and already done something, and he's going to redo it again. And it's just going to be so blatantly obvious that they won't know what to do with themselves. Honestly, this clip literally is depressing, sad, and if you're not laughing, you're crying. Because this is who people decided to vote for. This is who people thought was going to save civility or bring back the adults in the room. There's no more mean tweets. Everything's going to be good. Imagine Biden in debates. Oh, it'll be horrific if he actually runs. Anytime he actually has a decent speech, you have to ask yourself, how did that happen? Because you get stuff like this. God, it's just sad to me. Okay, running up on the last clip of the day. You know what? I saw this clip today and I thought, I think our White House press secretary has a thing for the old deuce. And who doesn't? Who doesn't want some deuce in their life? Big D.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Peter. You're like that kid in the class.
What kid?
I'm expecting an apple, like a nice shiny red apple.
Nice briefing.
Okay, all right.
It's too hot to handle. God, they're going to freaking do it at the end of this day. What is going on? You're like that kid in that class. You know, that bad boy who wants to be spanked. What the frick? It's so weird.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
You're like that kid in the class.
I used to be that kid.
I'm expecting an apple, like a nice shiny red apple.
She really means is he's the kid in the class that's a total douchebag that talks back to the teacher and calls the teacher out on all the mishaps and makes fun of the teacher, and the teacher doesn't know what to do and drives the teacher crazy all day and probably goes home and drinks an extra glass of wine. And because I used to be a teacher and I had kids like that in class, and I'm sure that's what he's talking about. She's like, you won't just let me go and lie for Biden all the time. What's your problem, Peter? God, you're like that kid in that class. Give me an apple. God. All right, guys. This is my show. Done in an hour and 30 minutes by myself. This is my show by myself. No commercials. No writers. Just me, you, my pooter. Computer. If you want to support my show, you go buymeacoffee.com/Jericho Shea Show. Link is in the description below. We're going to go live more often. I appreciate every single one of you. I enjoy hanging out with all of you guys. Thank you guys for all getting in the chat. Giovanni, Mr. Tubbs, and Lola. I appreciate all you guys getting in my chat. It means a lot to me. It makes me feel like I'm not talking to myself, which we all do. Let's just be real. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And remember to vote. Remember to get engaged in your local politics. Find a chapter of people that you can align with in urge people to vote, help people cast ballots, protest where you can protest, engage where you can engage, speak up when you can speak up, because now is not the time to be silent in our lives. Now is not the time to cower at our jobs or pretend like everything is fine when it's not fine, because now is the time to speak up, because they feel like they have the power to do whatever they can, do whatever they want, and you won't do anything. But that is wrong. The power is with the people. The power has always been with the people. That's why companies have gone to this woke thing, even though it's not that financially advantageous, because they believe that's what people want. But the more people that speak up and fight back, you're starting to get things like the Terminal List with Chris Pratt and stuff like that, which I enjoyed that series. If you haven't seen that series, and I like that all these woke idiots on Rotten Tomatoes are giving it a bad rating, but then the audience score is super high. I only trust the audience score in today's world. Anyways, cheers, Giovanni. I appreciate you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy your lives. Enjoy your day. Get out in nature. Take a breath. And remember that, yes, engage, but also some things are out of our control. So don't let it control your happiness or control your joy. Find a good foundation in your life to put your hope and trust into. Have a great day. I freaking love every single one of you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.